Again, as you heard from Adam Ross, Strawn with his best ever finish, a third place finish here back on Victoria Day weekend as Martin De Silva in that Chevrolet Corvette safety car leads the field. A couple of Corvettes being used here to pace the field around this racetrack. Great to have you with us. Want to give a big shout out to Mike Mole, who used to race street stock cars on the old MOTORSPORT Speedway track. Mike Mole making a return here decades later, and boy was he blown away when I talked to him at the end of the day yesterday. All of the changes over decades, but there's an avid race fan and a former street stock runner on the old MOTORSPORT Speedway. Great to have each and every one of you, ladies and gentlemen, including our rookie race fans here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for the first time. We hope to see you back out here in 2026. The schedule's not finalized as yet, but pretty sure we'll see the NASCAR Canada Series here on Victoria Day weekend and Labor Day weekend, as has been the tradition here now for many, many years. Cars making their way up the long Andretti straightaway, and if you're looking for a spot on this racetrack where you're going to see positions being swapped around, it will be going into turn number 8 at the entrance into the S's, as these cars carry a lot of speed into that very fast right-hander, and then really tightens up through the left-hander at turn number 9, and then out of corner 10, the final corner to come around to complete the lap. Adam Ross has made his way to the announce booth. Adam, looking forward to calling this one with you. Our daily double here on the season May, and now this race that'll be pivotal with the remaining races for the championship.
You're absolutely right, Pat. And the reason it's going to be so pivotal is because of 28 cars. Any problem that you have here today in this race is going to be magnified basically by 2 because of the number of race cars. So these drivers have to have a clean start if they want to go out and race for the championship. I've got a running joke with Mark Antoine Cameron because he tells me every race, Adam, I'm going to go out there and be patient. And I just speak to every race. He said, look, don't do patient. That's not today. We're happy for it because he is a warrior out there.
Making its way up into turn number 3 as we get set for the start here. Next time by, the second of our Corvette safety cars will pull onto pit road, and then we will be set to go here for the rolling start again. 51 laps make up the 200 kilometers of this event. Of course, following the run here this afternoon, they've got the 2 big races coming up at Delaware Speedway Park. I think DJ Kennington will be looking forward to those 2 races on a track where he really cut his teeth as a teenager, coming out of the karting ranks, and then what an outstanding career he has had racing cars, and of course the Iron Man of this series. I think he's got a record number of starts in that Dodge.
He's the only driver to never have missed a NASCAR Canada Series start since the series formed back in 2007. We're going to double up this field. Kyle Steckley, they had trouble with the clutch pulling up out of the pits. They had members from 4 different race teams that I could see helping Scott Steckley work on that 20. They had to deal with had to get some hydraulic fluid, top up that clutch. to make that car drivable, so hopefully he's at 100% in that MBS Motorsport number 22. The field doubled up down the back straightaway, 2 by 2, 14 rows deep.
Field making its way off the end of the Andretti straightaway. And that white Corvette will make a dash for pit road, and then will be the two drivers up on that front row. The pole sitter 27 Andrew Ranger alongside 22 Kyle Steckley, both in Chevrolets, to bring the field onto the start-finish straightaway and look for that green flag to fly.
And it's going to fly from young Louis Dumoulin, the son of LP Dumoulin, representing Leather Tech as the honorary starter here this afternoon.
With the lead. Second is Kyle Steckley. As we see some side-by-side racing going on, that is Jack Melito trying to take that outside line off of turn number 3, as I believe he just picked up a position, but down the chute, up in the Moss corner, it is the 27 of Andrew Ranger who will bring them on to the Andretti straightaway. Also moving up there, the 98 of Malcolm Strawn as they climb the hill on the Andretti straightaway on lap number 1 of 51.
Full course yellow. We have a problem on the racetrack. Don't yet know what it is, but I'm going to pull out my phone. We've got some amazing fans here. Some of them have my phone number, some of them have my Facebook, but I love
one of the cars they're smoking going up the back straightaway there, as you can see.
Brent Weller or Dominic Scrivo, and that's Brent Weller in the 81.
Looks like we may have two cars that might have been involved in that incident, so we go to an early full course yellow, and both of those cars headed for pit road.
Let's see who we've got. Significant damage. Different tires in the 85. Just coming over the wall. I think he's taped to the other crew member. Holding those panels in place. Racer's best friend is that duct tape. Hopefully just some cosmetic damage and no significant damage to the 85 of Timbers. Brent Weller in the 81. They have been turning some of their best laps ever here at CTMP. He was excited for the day to come. And it looks like they're done working on that 81 machine. He hadn't left pit road just yet. And you don't always realize how fast this racetrack is. So you want to make sure you've got the wheels well situated.
Brent Weller, as we continue to run here under the full course yellow, working lap number 2. As the driver does stay on the lead lap, at least the 81 of Weller does. 85 Daryl Timmers still on pit road, and unless he can get out of here in the next few seconds, as the field makes its way around, he is going to go a lap down, but right now he is sitting there on the lead lap. As next time by, it'll be 2 down, 49 to go. He is away, so all 28 of the cars right now under the full course yellow are on the lead lap.
Race fans, I don't do this very much, but I suggest you clap your hands, wave your arms at the 85 as he goes by, and have a look at the duct tape work on the left front corner of this car. It is not pretty, but this team unleashed more He deserves a little bit of love as he works around the racetrack to try to catch up to the field coming through turn number 10. That car went through some significant surgery.
And he is working his way up into turn number 3 as the field makes their way across the line to complete lap number 2, 27.7. Cars in tow.
I'm looking for damage on any of these cars. It doesn't look like anybody in the top 15 suffered any damage to start this one off. Daryl Timmers must be feeling something is amiss, or the team decided to bring him down. They had some bigger pieces. Yeah, these pieces, they're coming out. Now, these mean business. There you go. You could build a car out of that stuff. And this will definitely hold together better than the ticker tape or duct tape that was on the 85. And they worked hard on it. But this will be more practical for Timmers in that 85. Good job by the team to call him back down pit road. They knew he'd get a good gap on the field to be able to do that work without losing a lap. As most of the field right now, just the start of the long back straightaway.
They will clear Moss Corner, working lap number 3. Let's take you a little bit further back in the rundown because we did have some. Before we went to that early full course yellow, the 3 of Connor Bell is 11. Car number 99, Matthew Scannell in 12. 24, Jack Polito in one of 3 Fords is 13. 14th is Matthew Kingsbury. 15th, the 48 of Trevor Hill. 16th, 88 Simon Charbonneau. 42 Ryan Klug. 17th, and then 98 Malcolm Strong. 18th, Dexter Stacy in the 92 car is in 19th, and 84th Larry Jackson. Easy to spot him out with that bright yellow paint scheme. Rounds out your top 20 as we will be going back to green here at the end of lap number 3.
Up through turn 9 into turn number 10. Andrew Ranger going to lead the way alongside Kyle Steckley in the 22. Steckley might have got out a little bit on that restart.
Between the 47 of LP Dumoulin and the 87 of Sam Fellows and picks up the spots. That was quite a move. I haven't seen that one before.
Now, 3 wide, not necessarily advisable here at CTMP, but it sure is fun to watch. LP Dumoulin might have been the loser in that exchange as he loses a little bit of ground there, but it's a long race. He's a big picture racer in this series. Ever has had one. Is that Kevin Lacroix? No, it's Gary Clip battling with Alex Tagliani, Mark Antoine Cameron, giving him a push down into turn number 8. Clip gonna slide back in line. DJ Cairns, and they're gonna keep that going as they work into turn number 9. My goodness, what a battle!
Side by side battle here. We've got a car into the tire wall at the end of
that almost happened so fast I couldn't tell what happened.
Coming off the end of the back straightaway, there's the best news. He just reappears out of the tire walls. Larry Jackson in that 84 car as he appears to get off the track in turn number 8 at the entrance to the S's, and then stuck it hard into the tire wall, but the tire wall obviously doing its job as Jackson will be brought back here for the mandatory check over at the medical room. And it will be some time here getting those tire walls repositioned before we're able to go back to green. So this might be a few laps under the full course yellow. Our second here of the afternoon. We worked lap number 5 of a scheduled 51 as the field works its way out of turn number 10 and back on the start-finish straightaway. The Corvette safety car will pick up the field, and the safety crew and track maintenance people will look after the situation there at the tire wall in turn number 8. Works its way through turn number 3 using the white Corvette safety car here this afternoon. 51 laps of the WeatherTech 200, and the crew here will waste no time in getting those tires back into position and then get things buttoned down with that thick plastic covering. And there you see the forklift that'll reposition those tires. So I'm going to guess another 3, maybe 4 laps before we are set to go. So Jackson out of the running. Not sure what the issue was with Peter Clute, but he did not take got a single lap in here, so I'm not sure if that was a mechanical issue, but did not complete the single lap as we worked lap number 6 under a full course yellow. Andrew Ranger, 27, your race leader. 22, Kyle Steckley in second. Moving up into third before we went to the full course yellow was the 80 of Alex Stagliani. Marc-Antoine Cameron to fourth. DJ Kennington sitting fifth. 59, Gary Clute, who got shuffled back, is 6th. 7th, 74, Kevin Lacroix. And then with that big move by 39, Alex Gannett went right in between Sam Fellows and LP Dumoulin, I believe was in turn number 3, to move up into 8th. 87, Sam Fellows is 9th, and riding out your top 10, the 3 car of Connor Bell.
Tough start to the race for Larry Jackson Racing. The 85 of Daryl Tenners is out of his stable. Obviously, we saw the issues they had redecorating the body work in the front of that race car. And then, of course, Larry Jackson in the 84. See how they're going to pull this one out of there. It's always surprising when they pull the car out of a tire wall how much damage occurs. It dissipates a lot of energy. The tire wall is there to protect these cars from the hard concrete walls, but make no mistake, those tire barriers are not a soft thing.
Those cars that fly out on first, those cars yellow, come back onto pit road as they continue to try to repair the bodywork on that car.
Pat, you've been around for a couple of weeks. This work they're doing on the Daryl Timmers cars is pretty impressive. They continue to take things down. On Friday night, I work at a different racetrack. We have a mini stock car. So it's pretty much, they're great race cars, but they're an entry-level division. And Skid finished second in the race, wound up winning because the winner was disqualified. It was Rogan Monaco. Second to Trevor Monaco, who's raced with us quite a bit. They had a problem that day. The rad had a leak. The screwdriver went through the radiator. Do you know how they fixed it?
Crazy glue.
Hot dog button. Have you ever heard of that term?
No, I've not heard that motorcycle races, a lot of them right here in Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. But
It's an old school. Switch up a hot dog button. Stick it in the rider. And then they put a little bit of something else in there. But it has to build that heat. We're going to have a red flag when we work on the racetrack. But it has to build that heat. And the hot dog button finds its way to the hole. And it sucks itself through it and forms a bond. Good enough that he visited Victory Lane that night. Obviously, the next week, you will get another ride. You're not going to stick with the hot dog button. But I thought that was just old school. I've heard of it before. I've never seen it in play.
so they elect to go to the red flag simply because the cleanup here and the repairs through the tire wall in turn number 8 is going to take, I think, longer than they would like. So they will bring those cars around and head down pit road. Once the repairs are complete, we will be set to go. Now, 51 laps is the scheduled race distance, but there is a time limit on this event. On the schedules, it shows 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So, Adam, you probably have the information in terms of the exact number of hours and minutes that this race will run if we do have further full course yellows and other interruptions in the actual race action. But right now we're on lap number 7 is what we're looking at.
In my history here at CTMP, I have never seen us exercise the curfew time limit. Some other events that we've been at, I know it's come into play within this one. We've always let the race get to its 51 lap or sometimes overtime distance. So I don't expect that will be an issue. I'm surprised the 84 car is still there. So the crew doing some great work getting this tire wall rebuilt. You know, it's a part of your career you don't ever want to have to use. It's the same with the medical team. You don't ever want to have to use them. You're glad to have them when they're here. And I've watched some of the work they do when we've had to repair tire walls. They're pretty gifted with that piece of machinery.
Well, it looks like they've got the Larry Jackson number 84 car up on the hook. They've actually stopped the cars on the Andretti straightaway. As we have a great shot here from our video monitor of the work and the repairs that's been done to that 85 car of Daryl Timmers. As checking to see where he is sitting, 26, so he's the last of the cars in the procession, still on the lead lap. Larry Jackson going out here on lap number 4. And so 26 cars, once we're set to go back to green, will be the number that will take the green flag. Again, 51 laps, the scheduled run here in the WeatherTech 200. Reminder that here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, this is our final major weekend of the season, and again, we thank all of the race fans who have come out here, going back to the very first NASCAR Canada Series race this year, back at our Victoria Day Speed Fest. Of course, many fans come out here and check out all 5 of our major events, including our super bikes that ran here 3 weeks ago. Of course, the Chevrolet Grand Prix, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship weekend. That was tremendous, as well as the Farak Vintage Grand Prix that has its traditional spot on Father's Day weekend. I would think very shortly, if you want to go to the CTMP website, you can sign up for the newsletter. You'll be the first to know once the schedule for 2026 is finalized and made available, but I would think a similar schedule for what we've seen here in 2025. Adam, we saw a shot there of the Larry Jackson vehicle. Looks like they've got a lot of repairs to do to that race car in order to get it ready for Delaware. As we continue to work on the tire walls in turn number 8, getting those in position. They've got an experienced crew that have done this before, and I would think maybe a few more minutes they'll get that big plastic covering in position, get that buttoned down, so it should not be too much longer. But I think a good move, rather than burn rubber and fuel, they stop the cars on the back straightaway through the red flag, and then we'll have a restart coming up as soon as repairs are done there to the tire wall in turn number 8.
Yeah, the crew's working hard down there to get things sorted. That was some heavy damage to the front of the 84 of Larry Jackson. There's a lot of that car missing at this point, shoved back into the engine. Conversations being had on pit road, nicely catched by the camera crew. That's the 88 Simon Charbonneau, one of our Rookie of the Year contenders. You can see a more seasoned veteran. Sitting a little further down while waiting on their pit boxes, trying to get whatever information they can. But at this point, we wait. I wonder if that's mind games. We're looking on the videos. They're stopped 3 wide on the backstretch. Alex Tagliani pulled up alongside the 22 of Kyle Stegley. Marc-Antoine Cameron pulled along the other side. So they're staggered all over the place down there on the backstretch with this red flag.
Of course, you can get your fill of NASCAR racing once we're wrapped up here at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Tonight, of course, Darlington is the race coming up. Things heating up in terms of the championship for the Cup Series. That race running tonight at Darlington. So you should have plenty of time to get on out of here, get back home, and check that out. Of course, this race going out across the country, the WeatherTech 200 on Rev TV, covering all of the NASCAR Canada Series, as well as the ARCA Menards and other NASCAR content on Rev TV. As we await the final touches to be put there on the repairs, and then these cars will head back on around to complete what would be lap number 7, but already a couple of full course cautions. The first involving contact between the 81 of Brent Weller and the 85 of Daryl Timmers. Apparently there was some debris on the racetrack, and so they went to that first full course yellow, and then when Larry Jackson got off the track there in turn 8, these cars are running well over 130 miles per hour going into the S's there in turn number 8, and Jackson just shut off into the tire wall. Not sure if he just ran out of racetrack, or as you said, Adam, some kind of a mechanical issue where he wasn't able to slow the car. These guys have done this before, as we said. They've got the little electric power tools there. They'll get the screws into that wall and get in position. So probably no more than a couple of minutes, and then we'll see that white Corvette safety car. Martin De Silva at the controls. Tip of the announcer's cap for Martin. We think we put in a few weekends here at this track. Martin does all of the major weekends, also looks after some of the CASC races. He is a busy guy throughout the racing season.
Pat, you want to know who else has been busy for 15 years? And this is his last outing working the camera. Claude Garepi. Claude has done everything in this sport, done a lot of work over the years. And this is it. This is his final event, and he's working here this weekend.
I think he pronounces Garepi.
So,
yeah,
it's funny you say that, because I was talking to Dean, his son Dean, on the front stretch. I said, how do you pronounce your last name? Because I knew I wanted to talk about it. He said it just like me. He says, oh, you want the English version? I said, yeah, I can't do it. So you are absolutely correct, Pat.
Well, Claude and I go back. We spent many weekends when we were doing the old Castrol Superbike Championship and CASCAR back in those days. Claude was one of the camera guys, and I think his brother was also an outstanding cameraman, and always enjoyed our weekends, whether it was at a Delaware Speedway run or sometimes going out west for some of the Superbike races there, or some memorable weekends up at Mont Tremblant when some of the major Canadian series ran there. So it looks as though repairs are complete. We thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get these cars back under green here very shortly as they work their way in through the S's as we come around here to complete lap number 7. So hopefully this is the last of the full course yellows and red flags we're going to see this afternoon. We'll get in lots of green flag racing here to the conclusion of this WeatherTech 200.
That's definitely the goal. Looked like Connor Bell might have had some trouble getting fired on the backstretch. Kevin Lacroix coming down pit road at Valvoline, number 74. See if Connor Bell can, even if he did have trouble getting rolling, he would get his spot as long as they can push start that. And it fires. He'll get his spot. Double file starts and restarts in the NASCAR Canada Series. Turn number 1 is a 90-degree turn to the right. I don't know how they always seem to manage to get through that unscathed, Matt.
Well, you do carry on a regular lap a lot of speed going in there, but you'll see these cars drift to the very outside of the track, and then you got to get back into the line over to the right side for the run under that Chevrolet Grand Prix bridge at the top of turn number 2 as the field makes its way to the end of the Andretti straightaway. They'll dip under that Canadian Tire bridge and then the run down into turn number 8. That's where Larry Jackson went off the racetrack and brought out our second full course yellow, eventually going to a stoppage with the red flag and now getting set to go back to green. Next time by, it'll be 8 laps completed and a total of 43 remaining.
Sam Fellows off to a good start with that last restart. He's up into the 8th position in the 87. Trouble for another car peeling off the racing surface. And I believe that's our... No, it's not. It's the 9 of Matthew Kingsbury. I thought it was Marc-Antoine Cameron. Kingsbury comes down to the pits. We're back on the pushing hard in that Castrol 17. It looks like a scheduled stop for Kingsbury. They loaded the 9 car full of fuel. Sent him back on his way to Kyle Stockton. That big freight train of cars. It's got about 15 cars up in that
start.
So battling side by side with Jack Polito. Oh, that was a hard hit for Ryan Clute into the concrete. But a great time.
Hopefully this will be a quick one, and we'll be set to go back to green in 2 or 3 laps.
Pit road remains closed right now. Red lights flashing at the entrance. We'll see if that changes by the time the field closes in. Right now, coming down the backstretch, Jack Polito still with that left rear fender flared out in the worst possible way for that driver. These aren't the most aerodynamic cars, but still you don't want panels that are preventing the air from flowing past. Good break for Kevin Lacroix, driver of the 74s. He starts to make his way towards the front of the field. He will get the free pass under this yellow and put him back on the lead lap.
Right now, Lacroix being shown 25th in the rundown. That's going to change. Ryan Clute will be out of the running here, along with the 84 of Larry Jackson. And so Lacroix moves up into 20. Services vehicle over there discussing things with the drivers. So we've got a couple of situations here. 75 Benoit Couture and the situation up in turn number 3 where 42 Ryan Clute got into contact there with Jack Polito and went into the wall, and then the tire wall there in turn number 3. They're trying to get that car out of there. Until then, we continue to roll here under our third full course yellow afternoon here in the WeatherTech 200. We're on lap number 17 of the schedule 41. Boy, they've quickly loaded that 42 car up onto the flatbed. So it'll only be about another minute or so here as they take a look at the tire walls, but they appear to be in good shape. So this should not be too much longer before we're able to go back to what after the original run. We had the situation there with 85 Daryl Timmers and the 81 of Brett Weller. That brought out the full course yellow for the first time. Then the second involving Larry Jackson when he hit the tire wall at turn 8. And now the third situation here with the 42 of Ryan Clute. Yet again it went with the 24 of Jack Polito. And Ryan Clute getting the worst of that exchange, tapping the wall and then into the tire wall up in turn number 3.
Pit road remains closed. Ryan Clute's car starting to come apart on the back of the record. Not bad.
No, thank you.
So a lot of yellows to slow this one down in the early going. Doesn't look like anybody has really pushed their cars in front of the field.
Here over the entire Labor Day weekend. Again, we remind you that this evening our friends at Miller's Meats up in turn number 3 is going to stay open late, and then they're going to be open tomorrow morning for those people who are going to be camping out overnight here at the racetrack. They'll be open at 7 a.m. For breakfast, and they'll be open tonight as well. Still trying to figure out, Adam, exactly what the problem was there with that 75 car of Ben Couture. It looks like that was on the back straightaway from what we can tell from the pictures we saw. That is where the problem was. That vehicle that they used to reposition the tire walls at turn number 3 is on its way back up the Andretti straightaway. So this should not be too much longer before that white Corvette pace car heads for pit road, and we're set to go here with the restart.
Well, pit road is open now. See if anyone elects to come down pit lane as they drive by Couture 75, and I'm pretty sure you know that smell when something electrical is burning. Either he saw some flames or some smoke up through the dash, because he was waving from inside the car. It was clear that he wasn't going to be personal harm. I think he wanted to make sure that the brake was also electrical.
Well, Ryan Clute's car about to be dropped off here in the paddock. Our first guest on that 75 car of Ben Couture. It was disabled on the Andretti straightaway between turns 6 and 7. Same turns. It looks like we'll have a lot of takers here coming on to pit road.
Even some of the cars who've already taken on fuel are headed down pit lane. DJ Kennington, Gary Clute, Connor Bell.
The race leader, Andrew Ranger, stays out. Ranger will complete his 18th lap. Just about all of the other drivers on the other side. Stay out on
leaders not there, and he's going to cut that left rear tire down, and check the leader should be able to get back out on track.
So this will certainly shuffle the running order on the racetrack. And with all of these full course yellows at them and that red flag, I would think a lot of field makes its way back on around on what is lap number 19. Haven't had a whole lot of green flag racing, but when we have, it has been some intense competition, particularly that battle we had for several laps involving the 27 of pole sitter Andrew Ranger and the 22 car of Kyle Steckley.
So I believe we're going to try to get back to green here. It'll be one more lap from the looks of it, but they've released Kevin Lacroix from behind the pace car, so he'll be able to catch up to it. And that 75 car of Ben Couture is on the flatbed. They're going to bring that back to the paddock after he pulled off the racetrack there between turns 6 and 7. And really just a couple of slight kinks in that Andretti back straightaway. Really isn't a full corner. The Corvette safety car making its way out of turn number 10. We've got more cars headed to the pits for fuel. Well, they would have taken fuel the last stop, so this time I would imagine they're going to take right side tires. No, maybe they're 4 tire stops.
Sam Fellows in second. Matthew Kingsbury in the 9 car is third. The 98 of Malcolm Strawn fourth. Fifth is the 27 of Andrew Ranger. 39 Alex Gannett in sixth. Seventh 80 Alex Tagliani. Eighth is the 88 of Simon Charbonneau. Ninth is 47 LP Dumoulin, and 96 Marc-Antoine Cameron rounds out your top 10.
We're seeing a replay here. Trouble on the gun with Andrew Ranger. I believe it cost him 2 spots. I believe Cameron got around him, and I believe Kyle Steckley got around him. And it's an inconvenience, but it's not the end of the world, because all of these drivers are about to have a lot of traffic to deal with.
Again, we'll reset that running order. I think there'll be some further shuffling as Andrew Ranger in that GM Paye Chevrolet works his way up the Andretti straightaway. But what a day it was yesterday, Adam, looking at how fast these cars went in the practice earlier in the afternoon. But boy, it was no holes barred for qualifying, where several drivers broke the old qualifying record. Really haven't had a chance to have these cars on extended runs to see what the fastest race laps they're capable of here this afternoon. But coming up next time by, it will be 20 laps in the books and 31 to go in this WeatherTech 200.
Daryl Timmers in the 85, Sam Fellows in the 87, going to lead us back to green. There we see Kevin Lacroix taking his position at the tail end of the field, but he is back on the lead lap. So let's see if the 74 has any magic. A gifted road course racer.
He's being shown 22nd as we're about to go back to green. The field coming out of turn number 10.
One driver heading on to pit road, that's LP Dumoulin of the weather's at 47. I'm not sure if that's a scheduled stop or not. They'll make that hard right to pit road. Now they
running out in front. Here's a move in on the inside, lighting up the tires with Kingsbury in car that had made a pit stop, now starting to carve their way back up to the front. But it is 87, contact between 98 Strawn and Kingsbury 9, and it's, we've got a car around. That is the 99 of Scannell. Scannell looping his car around right in the middle of Moss Corner. He's going to wait here for the last of the cars to clear, and now he'll try to get that car turned around, but that's going to put him right to the tail end of the field. Meanwhile, it is the 87 of Sam Fellows who leads heading up the back straightaway into the Essence.
Matthew Scannell was so excited about today's race, came in full of high hopes. It's not over, but that's a tough break for Scannell. As Dexter Stacy and Malcolm Strong race side by side, so they're looking for
inside up into 5A. He'll stay right there and pull off the block pass out of 5B and up the back straightaway. Alex Gannett, 39, up into the third place spot, having an absolute battle there with Matthew Kingsbury.
Sam Fellows driving away from the field in his 87, having a great run at this point in the race. Well, the driver's trying to work through traffic, and it gets harder and harder every race here at CTMP because drivers through the middle of the field are getting faster every time we show up. Sam Fellows with a great gap, and then second on back. General Timbers in the second spot. Connor Bell gets up on the rumble strip, trying to make a move on Dexter Stacy.
Dodge back in the 15th place spot. Out of those drivers who were 11 on back through 15, look for them to all start making their way back up to the top 10. But right now it is 87 Sam Fellows running at the front of the field as we work lap number 23.
Kevin Lacroix back on pit road as the team continues to work on that 74. Troubles have plagued that driver, Sam Fellows, way out in front. We've got to move for the second spot. Alex Gannett drives to the inside of General Timbers from turn number 10. They're side by side.
Alex Gannett into that number 2 spot ahead of Darrell.
Well, Cameron has done a great job working through traffic, carrying through, following in his footsteps. Alex Taglieri, they have not had the same success getting through traffic. And this driver looks brilliant at the moment. The call is the AER Local 1 Brady 70 Fellows.
And Adam may have really got that car dialed just watching it come through towards 9 and 10. It is absolutely on rails. As we look at this fight between Bell and Stacy rounds up your top 5.
Watching these drivers work in traffic is something to see. Alpha's popping up the front tires going into the corner, so he is struggling. And I don't think that's going to get better as this race goes on. That's going to be a struggle for them.
This battle for third just coming out of turn 10 is a good one. 88 Terminal, and he's got that baby blue number 3. while 59, Gary Clute, about to get around Simon Charbonneau for that fourth place position, and he's going to attack the some contact there, and here comes Cameron. This is an absolute monumental battle going on right now for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. These drivers have got charging. The race leader continues to be Sam Fellows. He had a lead of over 5 seconds on that. It's down to just about 4 seconds as they complete lap number 88 car of Charbonneau is dropped back from Tagliani. As they got should be an incredible finish to this winter top 200. As 88 Charbonneau holds off the Bull Center Ranger right up on his rear. 81
Thank you.
Tagliani, then Ranger, and then Cameraman. As those drivers now may have a little bit of clear racetrack where they can pose a race for lap times. But some of the lap times, depending on what kind of traffic you deal with, the near 74 Kevin Law down in 24th position is back on the road. already straight away. Second, and then looking set it up for the left-hander in the car. Just appears to go straight on out of turn number 9. Make the turn. So once they get that car out of there, it does look as though there's some fluid they're going to have to get cleaned up as well. Once again, we go to the full course yellow, and boy, will this make for an interesting yet another restart here. Great to have you with us, ladies and gentlemen. Track announcer Pat Gonzalez, along with the public address voice of the NASCAR Canada Series, Adam Ross, and the announcers booth. Following this race, we will be going down to the victory podium. Adam, I'm not sure we're going to handle that victory podium local, the local PA over here. tow truck pulled it out of the tires. Now they've got that line and going to try to pull that car of Malcolm Strawn up onto the flatbed. It's not far from there to get it off of the racetrack. So we're hopeful here very shortly, maybe another couple of laps, we should be set to go back to green. And then we're going to be looking at approximately an 8-lap run to the finish once they take the green on the restart.
Yeah, we're continuing here in turn 9. Pit road remains closed, probably because the work is happening right at the entrance to pit road. And you could see when they gave us a look at the front of that 98 car, the radiators hanging out of it, the nose. There's a steel structure behind the nose that kind of holds all the fiberglass in place. It was all knocked askew. Man, Simon Charbonneau, though, he's got to be proud of himself. He put up a fight with some of the best road racers this country has to offer. Made them work for it, whether it was Cliff Cameron, Ranger Tagliani trying to make those passes. He still runs up there in the top 10 in that 88.
Of course, Simon Charbonneau, former Nissan Sentra Cup driver, has lots of laps here in Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, because that series that was part of our weekend here has been running here for a long time now, as they got in their 2 final races of the championship. Still working on getting that car right up on top of the flatbed, so it'll be at least one more lap here as the field makes its way, and Martin De Silva doing a nice job of slowing things down as much as he can to allow that clean up there in turn number 9 to be completed. So I would think not this lap, but the next lap by, we are going to be set to go back to green. So this will be lap number 42 going up on the board, and if they can get out of here in the next minute or two, it'll be a back to green at the end of lap number 43. And that would give us the 8 laps, hopefully, from the restart to the checkered flag. An 8-lap trophy dash is what this one is going to turn into here this afternoon. But boy, the action is going to be fast and furious. There you go, the flatbed headed back to the paddock with that Malcolm Strawn number 98 car. The rest of the vehicles have left turn 9, so I don't see any reason, Adam, that next time by they don't form up these cars and set to go back racing. Stories still to play out, and one that runs through my mind: this is the last road course race in 2025. Nobody wants to wreck their car, but they also know they don't need them again until, hypothetically, the May long weekend of next year. So you know you don't have to get it fixed for next weekend. Does that run through your mind, or are you willing to take risks that you might not normally take? I don't know. Well, they'll be pulling out the oval cars, Delaware Speedway, big 2 races coming up there as the field makes its way through Moss Corner. We'll see whether or not those lights on that white Corvette pace car get turned off, and that'll be the indication that we will in fact be going back to green. But as you suggested, during this full course yellow, they do need to not sure how many are going to try to come on to pit road. You're just going to give up too much track position late in this race as the drivers try to keep as much heat in those general tires as they work up the Andretti straightaway.
No, I tend to agree with you, Pat. The lights are still on the pace car, so we're not going to go back to green this time, but I do believe it will be next time. This time we focus on the entrance of pit road to see if anybody needs to come down. Is there anybody with, you only have 4 tires to put on in this race. That's all you're allocated. The 4 that are on the car, you can have 4 to put on the car during yellow. Not everybody does that. So is there anybody out there who wants to roll the dice and think, hey, if I come in for my tires now, I can keep some spots. I don't think you'll see anybody in the top 10, but maybe there's a car further back. Here comes Dexter Stacy. He'll take that gamble.
Maybe a couple more, but here is the field going by. So 3 cars elected to come down pit road. Nobody anywhere up there in the top 10, certainly. So one more time. Next time by, we will go back to green. That is 43 laps completed. So in the lap 44, that's when
somehow with the gun. Doesn't really lose anything there. It's all when they come back to the stripe, so this should be a 7-lap sprint to the finish.
Looking at a couple of cars that appear to be out of the running here. Of course, Kevin Lacroix, 74, certainly had a good race car. Maybe didn't qualify where he would have liked. He is showing 24th in the running order, but a number of laps down. 6 laps down for Kevin Lacroix. Pardon me, 27 laps is what he's being showing, so he's down a bunch of laps. He may be parked in the paddock. Malcolm Strawn out of the running here, along with the Couture number 75 car, Ryan Clute, and of course Larry Jackson. All will not take the checkered flag. Cars lined up here. The lights are off on the white Corvette safety car as they wind through turn number 8. Let's go to Adam for the restart. A 7-lap dash to decide the WeatherTech 200.
What we hope will be the final restart of this event as the field works up through turns 9 and 10. Sam Fellows in the 87. Alex Gannett in the 39 make the hard right-hand turn through turn number 10, head down towards the start-finish line. Fellows keeping them slow, coming back to the restart. Green flag is out. We're back underway. Fellows with a
87 of Sam Fellows continues to hold off O'Gannett. Car number 39 got into contact with one of the other cars. He is off the racetrack. Does an incredible job of putting that car back on the racetrack after he just about put it into the wall. Sam Fellows, your leader. Up there in the third place spot, Connor Bell, as they head up the Andretti straightaway, but it is Sam Fellows in car number 87 leading the way. Gary Clute 59 in his second, the 3 of Connor Bell is third.
Sam Fellows got as good a restart as he could have hoped for in that 87. Oh, Connor Bell up over the rumble strips. That allows RP1 camera to the inside. Fellows out in front by a gap. You've got a crash there in turn number 8. That is Matthew Kingsbury. Kingsbury in the back.
Looking at overtime here, Adam. It's going to take a little while to reposition those tires. So we will have to see the ball here from number 46 on the schedule 51. Sam Fellows, your leader.
It's kind of boring, man. It's kind of...
Kennington up into 6, 27 Andrew Ranger 7, 88 Simon Charbonneau 8, 22 Kyle Steckley 9, and 47 LP Dumoulin rounds out your top 10.
The most important thing about Matthew Kingsbury talking to the safety officials, they come down to number 8.
Well, I didn't see the fucking dust.
Bell got up, bounced out of the groove, and then where's Kingsbury? Man, just like the Larry Jackson.
Did you see
Out
that
in
one
that
on the
tire
replay
wall
yesterday?
with the left side of his race car.
That was okay. It was just...
Put a round of
And I
applause
bet
for
the inside
Kingsbury.
track.
He's climbing down back to the mix. Spoke to Matthew this morning about what a solid season he's having. You know, he's improving everywhere they go.
Sometimes you get
One
lucky.
tough way to end it, not driven well here today. Remember, we go back to the last completed lap when it comes to setting the
But it looks like turn
running
8
order.
is
So
where
I don't know
everybody's
if
crashing, so-
Clute is going to be second.
So that was my third spot. There.
We'll let the scorers sort that out. But that was a tough restart for Sam Fellows. You could see whether he overdrove turn 1 or the car just wouldn't stick for him. Got out of shape in turn 1, got a little out of shape in turn 2. Was fortunate that they battled behind him. He was able to sort of hold his composure. But now,
looks like we are going to go to a red flag. So similar situation when Larry Jackson put it into the tire wall in turn number 8. They know it's going to take a fair bit of time to get that tire wall repositioned and repaired. So they have actually stopped the field between turns 2 and 3 as that white Corvette pace car. And boy, I think Martin De Silva has done a good 20 or 25 laps here this afternoon in that Corvette. Alex Gannett, I want to talk about this for a moment. I'm not sure who he got into contact with in turn number 3, but it looked as though he was headed for the tire walls on the outside of turn number 3. Did an incredible job of keeping that car under control and was able to drive it right up alongside, adjacent to the tire wall, and eventually get back on the racetrack. Otherwise, we would have had an even earlier full course yellow. Right now, Gannett is being shown in 15th place, but he was certainly at one point there closing on Sam Fellows, and it looked as though I think it was down to less than 3 seconds that he was going to have a shot at the win. But again, the car stopped on the racetrack with 46 laps completed, 5 to go. And so we'll await the word from NASCAR Canada officials as to, once we go back to the start, whether this one, how many laps we will go here. So they'll have to complete this lap, and then I think at least one more. So we could be looking at a 3-lap shootout to decide the race here this afternoon.
Well, definitely going to be a dramatic finish. I had hoped that last restart would be the final restart of the day, but you never know what's going to get thrown at you on race day. These drivers are up to the task. It's got to be warm sitting in those race cars under the red flag condition.
Well, it is 4 o'clock now as the race on the schedule, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., but we've gone, at least in terms of that schedule, we're going to go overtime.
Yeah, and as long as there's daylight to race, they don't have a problem getting this race going right here. Matthew Kingsbury, number 9. They want to load that up. More conversation's going to go on to see how they want to repair that tire wall gap. Sorry about that. I thought you were adjusting your route, but it's not taking the headset right now. Sorry, man.
But I was just going to mention, we were mentioning Chris De Silva, the longtime pace car driver and safety car driver here. I think they've even worn Chris out, or Martin out. He's turned it over to his son Chris, who is now driving that safety car, and will bring them around to the restart. And from what we're being told here, it looks like they're going to try to go with a green-white checker, as we've got that heavy tire wall damage in turn number 8. So it looks like they're going to get that tire wall fixed as quickly as they can, and then we'll be set to go with what looks like is going to be a green-white checker to complete this WeatherTech 200. And boy, that is going to be 2 very interesting laps, probably the 2 most interesting we've seen all weekend long here. But this will be the capper on a great weekend. Our CTMP sprints that feature the final races in the Nissan Sentra Cup Championship. I believe the title going there to the driver of the number 91 Nissan in the FEL M-Zone Radical Cup Canada, unless something happened we weren't aware of. It looks like Kenny Reedman has wrapped up that championship. And of course, for the F4 United States Championship and the FR Americas Championship, they've got a couple of more rounds to decide those titles for 2025. They'll be racing at Virginia International Raceway in September and at Barber Motorsports Park in October. And then for the Trans Am Series, they'll also race at VIR and at Barber Motorsports Park, but their final race will be later in the fall at the Circuit of the Americas. So a 6 series running here this weekend, and a little bit fresh and cool at night, but boy, we had some wonderful weather during the day, and this has certainly been the warmest and the nicest of the 3 days after those heavy rains rolled through here on Thursday afternoon during the test day for the Trans Am, the F4 United States Championship, and the FR Americas Championship. And again, we thank all of the American teams and organizations who were here, and of course got the opportunity to work with John Phippen with a lot of our races this weekend. John, the long-time public address voice at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
So Matthew Kingsbury's car has been hauled back to the pits. Work is underway on the tire barrier. So far, I saw what is my favorite racetrack setup. It looks like a flatbed truck with an old industrial spool, like it had cabling on it or something. That's set up as a table. Great vantage point. One of the first setups they looked at, I couldn't tell what part of the racetrack it was, but clearly some of you fans have done this a time or two and have things set up the way you like them. It's fun to see how creative people can get.
Well, taking a look at some of the video that we're getting here in our announce booth, that forklift truck, I believe, has got most of the tires back into position. The last bit of work is to get that cover, that heavy, thick rubber plastic cover on the tire walls, and then we should be able to roll these cars that are currently parked over there in turn number 3. So the fans that are up in that turn 2-3 area get a chance to watch these cars up close and personal, but we will go back to racing here for what looks like it'll be a green-white checker to complete the WeatherTech 200. And again, we want to extend a big thank you to all of the incredible race fans that come out here multiple weekends during the race season to support the racing at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Again, the official schedule for 2026 will be out later on this fall, and looking forward to a great 2026 season, of course, beginning with our traditional Victoria Day weekend Speed Fest that features the NASCAR Canada Series as its feature event on the Sunday, and of course the NASCAR Canada Series, their schedule, Adam, that should be coming out, I would think, in the weeks to come. I think a great first run at Calabogie. I was there last weekend. They ran on the big long track there, 20 corners, 5 kilometers around. You guys ran on the stadium track that is very challenging, a lot of elevation changes, and I think they're starting to open up that racetrack there in terms of accommodating spectators, and hopefully by next year they'll have a permanent public address system and an FM frequency.
Yeah, and baby steps, one thing at a time. We just saw a number of the series spotters in different parts of the racetrack. Gotta look at Colin Livingston, Kenny Kutu, different vantage points, different spots where they can help their drivers. It's an extra set of eyes. If you've ever wondered why they take so much time to repair the tire barriers and get these heavier pieces screwed back into place, this is exactly why. That was approximately the area where Larry Jackson went into the tire wall. So if you left that vacant, that would have been a catastrophic hit for Matthew Kingsbury into a concrete wall instead of those tire barriers. It's bad enough to hit the tire barriers. There's a good look at our guests up in the hospitality area outside turn number 10. Lots of Connor Bell fans and supporters up in there. Of course, there's lots of LP Dumoulin supporters here this weekend as well, as we're in the WeatherTech 200. So, both Joe and Tony from WeatherTech are sure are here taking the action.
And while we've got a moment, Adam, I want to thank all of the various food vendors who have supported the major racing season at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Some of them have been out for every one of our major weekends, starting with the Castrol Victoria Day Speed Fest. And of course, many of them were with us again here this weekend. Temptations Food Truck, Taste of the Med, Citrus City, Heavenly Dreams Ice Cream, Kona Pizza Cones, Yummy Licious, and of course the fans were also up there in turn number 3 this weekend, checking out Miller's Meats that's become a fixture here, and also welcoming some new food trucks, some new cuisine. Kabza, that this weekend was in the family camping area. We thank them for their involvement with the racing here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and of course the gang from Canadian Tire and Motormaster doing all of the great stuff over the weekends, and of course for the young race fans, that Canadian Tire Fun Zone that has become a fixture for most of our major weekends, and as well a tip of the announcer's cap to all of the great volunteers from the Rotary Club of Bowmanville. And again, one final plug for their Oktoberfest event. It is October the 4th at the Newcastle Town Hall. That is Saturday, October the 4th. Doors open at 6:30, and tickets are $35 per person. I hope you were able to get by the Gilles Villeneuve collection and grab one of those incredible t-shirts that has a picture of Gilles from his Formula One debut here at MOTORSPORT back in 1977. And as well, the folks from Fast Eddie Racewear, the official NASCAR merchandise, and of course our event t-shirts at the CTFP Marketplace. Some of those booths may still very well be open as we go overtime here in the WeatherTech 200. And one final mention of the final 2 regional car race weekends, the British Empire Motor Club's late summer trophy races, September 20th and 21st, will feature the final races to decide the championship in the Toyo Tires F1600s in both Class A and Class B, as Brian Graham Racing and Britain West Motorsport drivers settle that Class A championship. And then on October 4th and 5th, we race well into the fall here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, the celebration of motorsport featuring the final races in the Miata Canada Cup. And again, if you've got a special event planned, be sure to look into the facilities here at the event center at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Whether you're looking to have some kind of a corporate function, a trade show, a gala, a wedding, or a personal celebration, the event center here at the racetrack offers a variety of different venues and opportunities to host your event. Adam?
Back under yellow flag conditions here in the WeatherTech 200. The field has rolled behind the pace car. Pit road is open this time, so we will complete lap 47 this time. We'll likely go 1 to go. We come back to the green. It'll be 48 laps complete. So not yet into official overtime, but it is a dash to the finish. Sam Fellows held off all challengers on the last restart, but I dare say it's a little bit different flavor, because now the cars behind him have fresher tires than he has, but they also have some history too, because he got a bit of a flat left rear tire, because I just flip on the screen.
Well, this is lap number 47 that they will complete. And so as they come back around looking to take the green, that would be of lap number 48. So technically, we go overtime on the clock. Because the schedule did say 4 o'clock. And we've got what will be a run here that will feature a green-white checker.
Gary Clute is out. Gary Clute with a flat left rear tire has just come down pit road. I thought the car looked a little peculiar. It'll come to the attention of John Fletcher and the crew, but Gary Clute, who was running in the second spot, had everything he needed to attack at the finish here and try to score victory. Got a lot of work coming for him.
That is absolutely hard work. He is having an incredible race.
starting alongside of him. Gonna have Connor Bell directly behind. Remember, Cameron is the points leader coming into this race. Andrew Ranger, who I'm not actually sure when Ranger slid back through the order the way he did, but he's back behind Tagliani, DJ Kennington. He's going to have to make some bold moves here on this restart, which we would expect anyhow. But they've released the free pass car. I believe we're going to see the Eagle double up here on the backstretch in preparation for the restart here in the Weather 10-200. Sam Fellows scrubbing the tires on that 87. He's driven a great race to this point. Would love to get his first career victory in the NASCAR Canada Series. Let's see what good luck getting to the end of these events.
Chris De Silva in that Corvette pace car will make his way down towards pit road, and then it'll be up to those two drivers, Sam Fellows 87, 96 Marc-Antoine Cameron, to bring the field through turn number 9. Let's go to Adam for the restart.
Sam Fellows going to have to be up on the wheel for this restart. Marc-Antoine Cameron directly alongside Connor Bell right into the back bumper of that 87. Fellows gets on the throttle. The green flag is in the air. Fellows will lead the way down to turn number 1. He's gonna try, squeezes Connor Bell up the racetrack. A little bit of contact between the 96 and the 3 as they exit turn number 3.
Tagliani in car number 80 will come through here into the 4th place spot, and then it is DJ Kennington battling for that 5th place position with the 5th place spot. So Ranger picking up a couple of positions. They head up the Andretti straightaway on lap number 49. So next time by, it's going to be 2 to go. As the drivers work their way off the end of that Andretti straightaway in through the top of the S's up turn number 8. That has been a problem spot for a couple of drivers who went off into the tire walls. But right now it's Sam Fellows leading on the start-finish straight.
Sam Fellows just ran the best lap of his life, and it seems to get big as the
Ontario up into the 10th place spot.
Sam Fellows into 5A, 5B. Marc-Antoine Cameron right there on the back bumper of the 87, but Fellows up to the task. Leads the way down the back straightaway. Marc-Antoine Cameron in tow. Dexter Stacy in the 92 has gone around. Gets that car going through the grass. He'll get back up to speed. No need for a caution there.
So next time by, it's going to be lap number 50 going up on the board, and that white last lap flag should be out. Here is Sam Fellows, 87, in through turn 10, off of turn 10, coming to the line. And there is the last lap flag out for the race leader. Sam Fellows looking the
the gap on the 87 of Fellows down into 5A and 5B. He's up to the back bumper of the 87. Contact between the leaders. Antoine Cameron gets around the 87 of Fellows. He'll lead the way down the back straightaway. Fellows back to the second spot.
There was definitely some contact as Cameron stuffed Fellows on the inside. Going into 5B, we'll see whether or not Fellows has got any kind of a answer into turn number 8. They peel off into turn number 9. Bring them home now.
This is where it'll be if he can make a move. Sam Fellows not close enough for the looks of it. Connor Bell to the inside in the battle for second. It's going to be Antoine Cameron winning the Brothers at 200. Connor Bell second. Sam Fellows slides across the line.
Did bring it across the line in third. Fourth will go to the 80 of Alex Tagliani. Fifth will be 27 Andrew Ranger. In sixth is the 17 of DJ Kennington. And seventh is 22 Kyle Steckley. Eighth will be 47 J.L.P. Dumoulin. L.P. Dumoulin 47 and 8. 59 Gary Klute. Having to take on a left rear tire late.
That's a savage. She's more than a savage.
Was the 88 of Simon Charbonneau. 39 Alex.
Good race. That was a good race.
A lot of yellow time, but
99 Matthew Scannell in 13. 14 will be 48 Trevor Hill. 15 is the 0 of Glenn Stiers. Then 1669 Dominic Shrivo. In 1792, Dexter Stacy. 85, Daryl Timmers. 18, 93, Jacques Gannett Sr. In 19, and Brent Weller rounds out your top 20 in car number 81. So Marc-Antoine Cameron, the championship leader, is going to extend his points lead. He is going to take the checkered flag. But definitely contact there from Cameron on Fellows, and similar Connor Bell stuffing it on the inside into the side of Fellows to grab second, and then Sam Fellows comes home here to finish in third. He was one lap away from his biggest NASCAR Canada Series victory, and he will end up here third. The margin of victory 0.738 of a second. Marc-Antoine Cameron back to Connor Bell, and then Sam Fellows 1.4 seconds back of Marc-Antoine Cameron. I'm sure there will be discussion